Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel or welcome here if you are new. I'm Manganet and on today's video I'm going to tell you all about all the books that I read in 2020. We have a lot to talk about, we have a lot of statistics I want to tell you about, but before that I want to tell you that this video is obviously highly based on the videos that Kayla from Books and Lala does every single year at the end of the year with her stats for the year. Obviously it's not going to be as spectacular, as epic, as amazing as hers are, because those are just top level, like those videos, what is even that? But every year I see those videos of her and I absolutely adore it. And last year I even wrote down all the stats on my notebook, but then I never got around to take all the pictures that I needed, and then it was too late and I gave up on that idea. This year, however, I forced myself to do it because last year I was disappointed that I didn't, so this year we're here, we're gonna do it. But like I said, credits to her. Her link is going to be down below in the description, not that you ever need a link for Books and Lala videos, but the link is going to be there. Okay, let's go. So starting off, I'm going to show you all the books that I read during the year 2020. Here they are, all mixed up, no specific order. These are all the books. I don't have every single one in physical copy, so some of them might be flipped around. It just means that they are representing some of the book that I don't have. Now, in total, I read 70 books and I DNF'd 10 of them, so we're going for 70 as my total number, even though technically they were 80. So for some stats, I'm going to take those 10 into consideration, like the numbers of pages, but for other stats, we're just going to consider this 70 that I finished. Now let's jump on to these books divided by month, what I read in each month. And in here, I'm going to only be considering the books that I finished that month. So even if I started something but I only finished the following month, that number is going to appear on that month instead. In January I read 2 books, in February 4 of them, March I was doing my Mangalipa competition with Filipa and I read 10 books, and in April we did 2 weeks of Mangalipa Mania with all of you guys, if you remember, at the end of the month, and in April I read 13 books. In May, I read 7, in June 10, July 4, August 7, September 6, October 4, November 5, and in December I managed to read 8 books. I'm not sure how, but I was able to. So in total here we have 70 books plus 10 DNF. For pages wise, the total for the entire year was 24,170 pages. It's a lot of pages, guys, it's a lot of pages. From those 24,170 pages, it means that on average I read 66 pages a day. It's nothing special, I've never done these stats for the past, so I don't know if I'm increasing. I assume so because I never read this amount of books, but 66 pages in one day. Obviously the month where I read more was in April with 13 books. That was also the month where I read the biggest amount of pages. I was at 10 or more read books in March, April and June, so only 3 times a year I was able to go onto double digits. On average, I was reading 6.4 books a month, considering only the ones that I finished. Now, my average rating for all the books that I finished, not including the DNFs because I don't rate those, my average rating was 3.46, which is quite low. Technically it's 3.5, which technically is 4, but I find it quite low, but I also think that's usually what everyone gets, 3 point something. But speaking on average rating, let's talk about what I actually rated each book. So let's see them divided by rating. So here we have all my DNFs. And here I have all the 1-star reads. There were 7 of them. 2-star reads, there were 6 of them. 3 stars, there was 20 of them. Four stars, there was 22 of them. And 5 stars, there was 15 of them. On the picture it's only showing 11. The other ones are either books that I don't have a physical copy, or I don't know what happened. There's only 11 in the picture, so let's go with 11, even though my stats say it's 15. And now that we're talking about ratings, let's jump in right into my favorite books of the year. It's a top 3, but it's only 2 authors, and there was other books from these same authors that I also wanted to include here, but here's my top 3. So we have The One by John Mars, one of my all-time favorite authors already, that I discovered in 2020, and I'm obsessed with his books. And I had to dig deep to find out from all the books I've read so far which one was my favorite, and I think it was this one, but the other ones are all amazing. But this one, I was just mind blown by the amazingness of all the little plot twists that happen everywhere. It might be because it was the first book that I read from him, so I was not used to so many plot twists, but let's go with this one. And then we have 2 from the same author, which is Colin Hoover, and we have Verity, another kind of thriller, super mysterious and like brilliant ending. I wasn't expecting it, I didn't see it coming. And the other one is All Your Perfect with this cover that was definitely a choice. And this book broke me inside in levels that no other book has ever broken me before. And I spoke about it on a vlog. I'm gonna leave the link here in the cards so you can hear more details about this book in specific. But it's about a couple, both when they met and they started falling in love, and then the current timeline, which is 7 or 8 years in the future after that, where they are struggling with infertility. And it broke me in so many levels. This was the longest book that I read, Midnight Sun, with 662 pages, and the shortest book is one that I don't have, that is called The Giving Tree, with only 64 pages. So almost to the dot, 600 less pages than this bad boy here. Now that we're talking about the length of the books, let's see how these ones are separated. So here they are divided in terms of the amount of pages each one has. So here we have the books with 310 pages or less, so what I consider short books. Then we have books between 310 pages and 450, and these ones are over 450 pages. As you can see, I don't read a lot of those. There's only 6 above 450 pages, and then for the other ones there's only 20 short books, and the majority of my reads falls obviously here in the middle, where I have 42 books. And the average amount of pages in a book, if we consider the 80, so including the 10 that I DNF'd, because I did consider the amount of pages that I read up until the point where I DNF'd that book, so if we consider those 80, on average each book that I read has 302 pages. If we remove those 10 books that I DNF'd, on average each of my books has 345 pages. So they are right here in this middle category, but more to the short side. And when I thought about that, I thought it was really interesting, because that is true. I tend to not feel intimidated, but lazy. I feel lazy if a book is really big and I don't want to pick it up. So it does make sense that I tend to read shorter books, but I don't enjoy short stories. I cannot connect with the characters. Even if I appreciate the story, I just doesn't do anything for me, because I don't have time to connect with the characters. So I like longer books, but short. So now let's divide all these books in genres. Now, I'm not the best person for genres and to classify genres for each book. I did my best. Some of them are more difficult than others because they are a mixture of many genres. The genre that I read most, surprisingly no one, was thriller. I read 24 thrillers. The one that I read less was horror, with only 2. Surprisingly, I read 9 fantasy books. Then we have dystopian. I read 3 dystopias and 4 non-fiction. I was so surprised by this. I read 5 graphic novels, and then on the contemporary ones I decided to divide them between adult and young adult. So for this I read 13 adults and 10 young adults inside contemporary romances in general. From all the books that you've seen appearing from the books that I read, 8 of them were because of my book club, Chapterized. They were these ones. These ones were my Chapterized picks along the year. Chapterized is a bit dead at the moment. I had to stop it while I was moving house. It was getting very messy, but I'm gonna take this opportunity to approach it here, which is because the UK now has left the European Union, I'm struggling to find a way of sending the books to Portugal, where most of the Chapterized members live, and I was sending them the books every month. So I'm still trying to work on it, because it's a project that I enjoyed. I appreciated my break, but I enjoyed it, and I would very much like to bring it back, and I know you guys would like to have it back as well. but I'm struggling because of the customs declarations at the moment. In the meantime, if you are curious about Chapterized, I'm gonna leave links here for the video explaining what this is, a video that I did back in March or in February, and in the description will be the link as well for the Instagram page. One thing that I found curious about 2020 was that I think 2020 might have been the year where I really got into vlogging. I really like vlogging, and I really like that way of sharing not only my life and what's going on with my life, but also connecting with you guys, but also sharing about books in that way. I really prefer that over posting reviews or posting wrap-ups. Was the year where I stopped making wrap-ups as well, because I was vlogging so much that most of my books were being mentioned in vlogs anyway, so I found that posting a monthly wrap-up at the end of the month was just redundant, so I stopped that. And I really embraced the vlogs and the videos where even if it's not exactly a vlog, where I'm reading a book for a certain purpose. And the proof of that is the amount of books that I read because of that, either to be part of a vlog or to be part of a video concept in general. These were all the books that I read that were in that category. If you look closely, or if you pause the video to look at this picture carefully, you might recognize and you might remember some of these books for certain videos. If you do, let me know in the comments which books you recognize from which videos. And then let me tell you as well that there are some books here that I put in this pile, but you haven't seen those videos yet or those vlogs yet, because sometimes it takes me a bunch of months between starting a vlog and then I pause for a bunch of months because I'm working on something else, and then I resume it later. So sometimes it takes a long time for a vlog to come alive on my channel. So some of them I read in 2020 because of that, but you haven't seen the video yet, so stay put for that. And also let me know if you can guess which books I might be talking about when it comes to that, and which videos you think I'm working on. Another big and great thing that happened in 2020 was obviously the Mangalit Mania that I did in March with Felipe during the whole month, where we were reading only the books we had in common. And it started by being just this silly video concept challenge that we had just the two of us, and we had a bunch of rules and daily challenges, and we could only read the books we had in common. And for some reason that video really took off. You guys really loved that, and everyone out of the sudden was saying they wanted to participate. We never thought about that video as something that could be something more than just that silly idea that we were having, because we've made a bunch of videos in the past together in little challenges, and there was never anything that people were like, oh, I want to do that too. But for some reason, with the Mangalit competition that we did between us, what we like to call the ultimate reading competition, everyone wanted to do it. So in April, the following month, we did 2 weeks of that open to the public, and there was over 150 of you that put their names down and went into the madness with us that we later called Mangalit Mania. Between the 6 weeks that I had in total of Mangalit or Mangalit Mania, the 4 in March and the other 2 in April, these were all the books that I read during those 6 weeks. And it's crazy, it blows my mind. I read so much. That was definitely the thing that incentivized me to read the most, more than anything else, more than all the vlogs that I have running and all the books that I want to read for something specific. Mangalit was definitely the thing that incentivized me to read the most, because it's that competition spirit, isn't it? I don't know, you just want to be better than everyone else. And thank you so much for everyone who was a part of it and made it the huge and amazing event that it was, because obviously that wouldn't be possible without you, so thank you so much once again. Another thing that I thought it would be fun to do with all these books that I read was dividing them according to their covers. So I started by dividing them in color. So here we have some blue books, some white books, some black books, some red books, yellow books and beige books, pink and purple books. And now that we're still talking about covers, let me also divide these books according to what's on their covers. So we have some animals, we have some flowers, we have some houses, we have some things that happen in the exterior, like islands, sky, woods, ocean, all exterior things. And then we have people, and this was the category where I had more books with that. And in this I divided them from more realistic to less realistic. So here on the left we have actual people, actual photos, actual representation of people. Then we have what I like to call realistic draws. It's obviously an illustration, but it's very clearly someone, it's drawing someone. And then on the right we have what I call abstract people, just shapes or silhouettes, and you can still see its people or faces or whatever it is, but on a more abstract way. And finally, from all these books that I read, I already told you my favorites, I already showed you all the stats, but there's one more thing that I want to talk about the covers, which is my favorite covers of the year, of the books I read this year. And here they are. These are my favorite covers. There was some more that I wanted to include here. I didn't want to make this list super extensive, so these were my absolutely favorite covers of books that I read this year. I wanna put a picture frame around them and hang them on my walls. That is it. Those were all the books that I read and DNF'd and loved and hated during the year 2020. This is my final wrap up of the year 2020. It was a complicated year, but it definitely had some positive things. One of them being that it was the year where I read more books, and it would probably not be possible if it wasn't for the current situation in the world. So 2020 was a tricky year and it was complicated in some matters, but let's all still be grateful and try to see the bright side of life. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing my stats, and like I mentioned in the beginning, this was highly influenced by Kayla from Books and Lala. If you see her videos, you probably saw the resemblances here as well. So I don't know, I just wanted to make this video because I love stats and I love seeing piles of books and moving the books around. But this ended up being definitely way more complicated and way more intrigued than what it was just inside my little head. Anyway, this is a very long video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you very soon here on the channel with another video. Bye!